Momo was a kitten. He was very small. His fur was as soft as a cloud, and his eyes sparkled like tiny stars. Momo loved to play all day long, especially when the sun was shining bright in the sky. He had soft fur and bright eyes. Momo loved to play. He would chase after balls of yarn, pounce on leaves, and roll around in the grass. Every day was an adventure for little Momo. One day, the sun was shining. Momo felt happy. He wanted to explore. Momo went outside. The garden was bathed in golden sunlight, and everything seemed to sparkle. Momo's tiny heart raced with excitement as he stepped into the warm, inviting yard.
The world was big and exciting. The garden stretched out before him, filled with vibrant colors and new scents. Momo felt like a tiny explorer in a vast, magical land. Momo saw flowers and trees. The flowers were bright and colorful, swaying gently in the breeze. The trees stood tall and proud, their leaves rustling softly. Momo was fascinated by the beauty around him. He saw birds flying in the sky. Momo felt very small. The birds soared high above, their wings spread wide. Momo watched them with wide eyes, feeling a mix of awe and wonder. But he was not afraid. Momo felt a surge of courage. He stood tall, his tiny chest puffed out with pride. He was ready to face whatever adventures the day might bring. He was ready for an adventure. With a playful leap, Momo began to explore every corner of the garden. He jumped, ran, and discovered new things with every step. The sunny day was perfect for a brave little kitten like Momo.
Momo saw something beautiful. It was a butterfly. It had bright colors. It fluttered its wings. The butterfly flew past Momo. Momo wanted to catch it. He chased after the butterfly.
Momo followed the butterfly. He went through the tall grass. He crossed a small stream. Momo forgot about everything else. He just wanted to catch the butterfly. The butterfly flew away, its delicate wings fluttering in the gentle breeze. Momo, the little kitten, looked around with wide, curious eyes. He didn't recognize this place at all. The trees were tall and unfamiliar, casting long shadows that made Momo feel even smaller. Momo felt scared. He was lost in this vast, dense forest. He wanted to go home, back to the warmth and safety of his cozy bed. The thought of his family made his heart ache with longing, but he didn't know the way. Every direction looked the same, and the forest seemed to stretch on forever. Momo felt a lump in his throat as he sat down, feeling utterly alone.
Just then, Momo saw an owl perched high up in a tree. Its feathers were a mix of browns and whites, blending perfectly with the bark. The owl was sitting on a sturdy branch, its large eyes scanning the forest below. It seemed to be watching over everything with a calm demeanor. It looked wise and kind, with a gentle expression that made Momo feel a glimmer of hope. Momo gathered his courage and called out to the owl, his tiny voice echoing through the trees. "Excuse me, can you help me? I am lost," Momo meowed, his eyes pleading for assistance. The owl turned its head slowly, acknowledging the little kitten's cry for help.
The owl listened to Momo's soft meows, understanding the little kitten's plight. Momo had wandered too far from home and was now lost in the vast forest. The wise owl knew the forest well, every tree and every path. It hooted softly, signaling that it understood and was there to help.
"Follow me," the owl seemed to say with its gentle hoots and flapping wings. It took off, gliding smoothly through the trees.
Momo, trusting the owl, followed closely behind. The forest was dense, but the owl knew the safest paths. They moved through the trees, the owl always a few steps ahead. After what felt like an eternity to Momo, the trees began to thin. Soon Momo saw a familiar sight in the distance. His house. His heart leapt with joy. Overcome with happiness, Momo sprinted towards the house, his tiny legs moving as fast as they could. He couldn't wait to be back home.
Momo learned a valuable lesson that day. His curiosity had led him on an unexpected adventure, but it also taught him the importance of staying close to home. It was okay to be curious and explore, but he now knew he should always be mindful of how far he wandered. From that day on, Momo enjoyed his adventures, but always made sure to stay within sight of his home, where he felt safe and loved.